Miracle Mavens, we are live. We are live. If you can hear me, please let me know you can hear me in the chat, just to make sure that you can hear me, because if you can't hear me, that's a problem. Good morning from Fox Island. Yay, yes. Hello from Iowa, from Berkeley, from Columbia. We've got people from all over the U.S. and around the world. Orlando, yes. You can hear me. That is fantastic. Hello from Montreal. Hi, my folk from Montreal. We have some Montrealers in the house from East Texas. I'm in Austin. I don't even know if that's North Texas or South Texas or what. That's really bright. Hold on. I'm going to close that window. All right. That is better. Hello from San Antonio, from New Jersey, from Texas. You are welcome to say where you are calling in from or joining us today. We're not really calling, right? So what's the term? You're Zooming in, you're YouTubing in, you're videoing in. I don't even know what you would actually call. Massachusetts, Taiwan. Welcome from Taiwan, from Maryland. This is so crazy. It blows my mind to see the global community that we have created. All of us working together and connecting from different parts of the world, right? How wild is that? Some of you, it's like the middle of the night. You're freaking putting forth your extraordinary effort to be here, no matter what the time is. From Ukraine, from Denver, from Vegas, from Wisconsin, Sao Paulo, Brazil. Brazil's in the house. Connecticut, Texas, Bridgeport. Wow, awesome. Welcome. We have a lot in store today, and we are going to dive into the training pretty quickly. I want to welcome all of you Miracle Mavens to week 4 of the Miracle Equation live implementation training. And I want to acknowledge, all of you that are playing full out. And when I say playing full out, first and foremost, I'm seeing so much engagement in the Facebook group, right? Which is really, really cool. So thank you for sharing your journey, your Miracle Equation journey, your 30-day challenge, sharing your mission, sharing your mantras in the Facebook group and supporting each other. It is a beautiful thing to watch. I also want to acknowledge those of you that are filling out the evaluation forms, submitting questions for me. And keep in mind, if your question hasn't been answered yet, we are doing the 6th module, the 6th week. We're in week 4 right now. We have one more week of training in week 5. That'll really kind of conclude our training. And we're going to talk about how to maintain the Miracle Equation next week, how to maintain the Miracle Equation long after your 30-day challenge and really indefinitely. How do you maintain miracles for the rest of your life? That's what we'll talk about next week. And then the final week, week 6 of the training, is when I'm going to really just answer questions. I'm going to go through all your evaluation forms. I've been doing this weekly, looking for the common questions, the common themes, and the 6th week of the training is going to really be all about you. I guess every week's about you, but all about you, and specifically what are the areas of the Miracle Equation, into the weeds a little bit, some of the big picture stuff, but seriously, what do you need that maybe I haven't addressed? That's what I'm getting from the evaluation forms, and I so appreciate that. Most importantly, it's so exciting and encouraging to see you living the Miracle Equation, to actually see you, right? One of the big problems with books is that most people don't implement the books. I say this all the time. I've said it on this training. I said it in the Miracle Morning book that, most people just read a book and then they finish it and they don't do what the author taught them to do. They finish a book and they go on to the next book. And that's what this training was designed to do. It wasn't designed to teach you a whole bunch of new things. Of course, we share new insights. I share new insights with you, but mostly it's designed to help you deepen your understanding of everything that you've learned in the Miracle Equation book so that you can actually implement it, actually apply it, because it's not what you learn that changes your life. It is what you live that changes your life. And on that note, remember, these trainings aren't designed to change your life, meaning your life doesn't change during the training. Your life changes with your implementation of the training in the same way that your life changes when you implement what you learn in the book. So this is just designed to really enhance your experience of reading the book, learning the Miracle Equation, and most importantly, implementing it, living it, and as we know, ultimate goal, right? Becoming a miracle maven, developing the qualities and the characteristics so that unwavering faith becomes your default way of thinking and living and viewing your challenges and your opportunities, every aspect of your life. And that extraordinary effort, which is really just, remember, consistent effort. It's not working, all day, every day. It's just a little bit each day. That will enable you to become the person that you need to be to achieve everything that you want for your life. And in fact, this morning I did another training for a private group, and the gentleman that runs that training, it's a mastermind called Becoming Superhuman, Jonathan Levy, and he told me that he had this goal of becoming financially free from real estate, but he had never purchased any real estate in his life. And he got a mentor, and the mentor gave him some very kind of miracle equation-ish advice, which is, the advice was for him to every day evaluate one real estate deal and send one email to reach out to someone to make an offer or to evaluate their property. And he thought, wow, I can do that. I can do one real estate deal a day, or evaluate one deal a day and send one email or make one phone call to actually move forward, reach out to take advantage of an opportunity in real estate. And so that was his process, right? Was one deal evaluated per day and one email. And that was, I forgot how long ago he said, maybe 6 months ago. And think about this. 6 months ago, he was scared. He had never done any real estate deal in his life. And now he's about to buy so his first deal was a single family residence, right? Which was scary for him. He had never done it, but he did that. Then he did another single family residence. Then he did an apartment complex. And now he's working on his first multi-million-dollar deal. And Jonathan's, I think he's in his 20s, maybe his early 30s, but he's a relatively young guy. And I loved it because it was the miracle equation in action. It was, he had this goal, this mission of being financially free. Well, he wasn't going to do that in one deal or even in 1 year. It's going to take him many years to get total financial freedom. And by the way, his deeply meaningful why is because he wants to be able to continue working and never have money be the reason that he does the work that he does. He wants I love this. He wants his real estate to pay for all of his bills, all of his expenses passively. That way, every decision he makes in terms of where he invests his time and energy, what work he does, which projects he takes on and says yes to, they're never about the money, but they're always about the impact. So never about the income, always about the impact. And I hope that that's a lesson for you, right? To imagine, that that's possible for all of us. There are so many vehicles, and I don't mean to get too far off of a tangent, but there's so many vehicles for financial freedom. Real estate is one of them. Books is one of them, right? Right now, people are buying books and passive income is coming in. So whether you're a real estate investor or an author, or you create online products and programs, there are many vehicles to passive income. But I believe very much so, and again, this is a tangent, but it's a valuable one. I believe so much in passive income because of exactly what my friend Jonathan said, which is it gives you freedom to live life on your terms when you don't have to wake up every day and dedicate your day to paying the bills. When that's handled by various passive income sources that you've established, even if they took you a year or 3 years or 5 years, when you finally get to that point where you go, I don't have to work anymore. My passive income exceeds my monthly expenses and I'm financially free. Now I get to spend my time how I want. And for you, that might be like Jonathan doing work that impacts millions of people, or it might be spending all day with your family. Maybe you decide to homeschool your kids, or maybe you travel the world, right? It's whatever you want. But that financial freedom is so powerful. So anyway, it's a tangent, but it's an important one because again, you get to choose. If you have financial freedom in place, you get to choose how you spend your days and spend your life. So, all right, back to today's training. A very quick recap on the first 3 weeks we've had so far. Week number 1 was about deciding on your first mission. So that was where we started, right? Getting clear, what is the single most important goal that you are going to prioritize above all of the rest of your goals? And remember, the value of that is it prioritizes your time. So human nature is to pursue the path of least resistance, to do the actions each day that have the least significant consequences, that have the least fear around them. However, that keeps us from being productive, and instead it keeps us being busy. Identifying your mission means that you look at all your goals and all your projects and all your activities, and you get clear on what's the one that means the most to you, that is the most significant, that will empower you to become the person that you need to be with the qualities and characteristics of a miracle maven to achieve everything else you want in life. That is your mission. And what it does for you is when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to decide, well, what do I do? And often we end up checking emails or just being busy. No. You say, okay, well, I'm not allowed to work on my other goals. I'm not allowed to work on busy work until I've engaged in my process that will make sure, that will make my achieving my mission inevitable. So that's what your mission does. It allows you to prioritize your number one goal and not waste any time or stay busy or distract yourself with anything else on your to-do list or any of your other goals until you've executed your process for your mission. That was week 1. Week 2 was about discovering the power of your process. What is the minimal amount of activities that if you engage in them consistently each and every day will virtually guarantee, it will ensure that you move your biggest goals from possible to inevitable. And I just gave you the example of my friend Jonathan Levy, founder of the Becoming Superhuman Mastermind, right? His process was to evaluate one real estate deal per day and send one email, or if he needed to make a phone call, he'd make a phone call if there was no email address. But that was all he did. It took him like 30 minutes a day. And now he's on his way to being financially free from 30 minutes a day. That was his process, and that's the power of identifying and committing to your process without being emotionally attached to results. And then week 3 of the training last week was all about combining your practice for personal development, which for most of you is the Miracle Morning or some version of that, with your process for goal achievement, which is the Miracle Equation. And I gave a lot of new advanced training last week on the savers, on each of the savers. So if you're missing any of the weekly training we've done so far, make sure you log into the membership site and you can watch all of the replays and view all of the assignments and all the links. If there's anything you need to download for some of the weeks, there were downloadable resources. All of that is in your membership portal, which is in the email that I send you. Every time I send you an email, it's always in there somewhere in the PS or in one of the action steps. So that covers up to this point. And today we are going to dive deep into maintaining unwavering faith. We've really already covered the extraordinary effort part. And I know you might say, well, we covered it out of order. Well, it really doesn't matter the order. We've covered extraordinary effort, which is all about the power of your process. Today, we're going to talk about unwavering faith. And we're going to go deeper into it. As I mentioned into my email this morning and yesterday, we are going to go deeper into unwavering faith because, I was interviewed the other day by Dr. Shannon Irvine, and she specializes in neuroscience. Now, I've read up on neuroscience, and I've read about the correlation between unwavering faith and what's it called? Unwavering faith. Oh, and the neuroscience behind it. But it's not my expertise. Well, Shannon is an expert, and so she was brilliant. In fact, I asked her after we had this great conversation, and I'm going to pull out some of the highlights today, and how I view my perspective on neuroscience and how it relates to unwavering faith. Which, by the way, that wasn't really in the book at all. So this is really some brand new training that was not even included in the book. But I'm also going to link to an article. I asked Shannon, I said, hey, since this is your expertise, would you write an in-depth article on the correlation between neuroscience and unwavering faith? And she said, absolutely. I have not published her article yet. I asked her to put it on her blog so I could help promote her blog, which is great, but I haven't published it yet. I haven't announced it. You guys and gals are going to get it first. So after today's training, I'm going to post Shannon's blog post, her article that she wrote specifically for the Miracle Equation. I'm going to post it in the Miracle Equation Facebook group. And she also recorded a video training to support it. So I'll post all of that in the Facebook group after today's training so you can go even deeper than we go today, right? And again, Shannon's the expert on neuroscience. I am a neuroscience novice, but I think today you'll get some practical application of neuroscience, and unwavering faith, and it'll help you deepen your understanding of how unwavering faith is going to be put to work in your life. So first, I want to start with 2 obstacles to achieving our goals, right? So I'm going to pull back a little bit, go high level, right? 30,000 foot view. What are the 2 biggest obstacles to achieving our goals? Number 1 is the lack of faith, right? Not believing that you're worthy, not believing you're capable, not believing you can do it, not believing it's realistic, etc., etc., etc. Lack of faith stops us before we even get out the gate. The second obstacle to achieving everything you want in life is lack of effort. If you don't have faith, you're not going to put forth the effort because it feels like it'd be a waste of time, right? Now, if you do establish faith, but your faith wavers along the way, then your effort will waver along the way. So faith and effort go hand in hand. I think you're already pretty clear on that. We're not going to go in depth on that, but I just wanted to remind you that if we really look, we step back and look at our goals and our dreams and anyone's goals or dreams, and we ask ourselves, what prevents us from achieving our goals and dreams? It's lack of faith, and you can use another word for faith. You could say lack of belief, right? There are synonyms: lack of conviction, lack of certainty. But lack of faith is the first thing that prevents us, and lack of effort is the second. So let's look at what is unwavering faith, both from a practical perspective, which is the perspective I like to view everything, right? Like, I'm not a scientist, and my brain doesn't work with details. I forget most of them. So when I do my research and I read article after article after article, like as I'm writing The Miracle Equation or any of my books, or even preparing for today's training, and some of you may be able to relate to this, and hopefully for those of you that can relate to what I'm about to share, hopefully this makes you feel better. You're kind of like, oh, I don't have to feel bad anymore about this. Well, I have a terrible memory, number 1. You've heard me say that. And some of you I know are going, Hal, don't affirm that you have a terrible memory. Yeah, I affirm that it's great all the time. But I'm just telling you, realistically, my memory is not the best, right? That's not one of my strengths. And I think it's healthy, by the way, to be aware of what are your strengths and what are your, you can call them weaknesses or areas of improvement. But when you study StrengthsFinder, or if you do research on this, more and more research has come out that says you shouldn't invest a lot of time trying to fix your weaknesses. You should invest a lot of time trying to expand on your strengths and learn how to implement your strengths for a specific purpose or result or outcome. And then you should delegate, right? If you're in business, you should hire people that complement your strengths. So I'll give you an example. So I am a visionary. That is my, if you do various assessments, show that I am a visionary. So I have to hire people. So meaning a visionary is someone that sees the big picture, that has ideas that could change the world or change a person's life or change an organization. But there are these big picture ideas and concepts. I'm not great at the details, right? So I hire people that complement my strengths. And I married someone that complements my strengths. Guess what? If 2 visionaries get married, there's going to be a lot of dishes in the sink. There's going to be, right? When you plan a vacation, you're going to forget a bunch of stuff, right? That's the problem with 2 people that have the same strengths, but they're both missing, they both have the same weaknesses, right? So invest your time in expanding your strengths, deepening your strengths, developing your strengths, understanding your strengths at a deeper level, and applying your strengths for the greater good, for specific measurable outcomes. And then when it comes to your weaknesses, yeah, you want to shore them up so that you're not totally in, like a floundering fish, right? You want to be able to function in the areas that you might not be great at, but you're not going to invest all your time because science has proven we naturally are wired in various ways, such as some people are naturally introverts, some are naturally extroverts. Some people naturally can sit in front of a computer all day and crunch numbers, right? Like accountants, that's a personality type. If I tried to be an accountant, I would pull my hair out, right? And if someone who's an accountant tried to be, a visionary or a keynote speaker, that there may be misalignment there. So just keep that in mind, that you want to really be clear on what your strengths are. And again, I know that's a bit of a tangent, but I think there's value in all of these are pieces to the puzzle of being able to live at your best and perform at your best and apply the miracle equation so that it's effective for you. So what is unwavering faith? First and foremost, from a practical perspective, and specifically in the context of the miracle equation. So the way that I would define faith is it's actively believing in your capabilities to learn, act, and overcome or accomplish anything that you're committed to. So it's very simple. It's not scientific. Now, there's a lot of science that we're going to talk about today that supports that. But all it is, in a simpler way, you could say it's believing in yourself. That's it. In the simplest form, it is believing in yourself. It is having faith in your abilities or your capabilities to be able to learn anything that you need to learn or do anything that you need to do to be able to overcome anything that's standing in your way or accomplish anything that you want to accomplish. That is faith in the context of the miracle equation. Remember, what faith is not in this context is this is not about faith in anything outside of yourself. Actually, let me reel that in a little bit. You can combine, I have faith in a higher power, right? You can call that higher power God, or you can call it source energy, or there's a lot of different names for it. And I don't like to place a name on it because different people have different beliefs. And as soon as you throw out a word like God, right, everybody has a certain image of what that is in their mind, a certain set of beliefs around that. So I would rather say, if you believe in a higher power outside of yourself, and there, by the way, there is a scientifically proven higher power, which is the energy field, the quantum field, that everything, all thoughts, all emotions, everything is born from the quantum field and dies back into the quantum field. And essentially, and again, once again, I've read up on the quantum physics. I've read about it for years, but I started to mention this, right? My brain doesn't remember the details. So I always go to the practical. I learn the science, and then I understand, okay, this is how this thing works. And then I try to translate it in my mind. How do I practically turn that into something actionable so that the science convinced me of it, but I don't want, now that I'm convinced, I don't need to remember all the details of the science. And and for you, I hope, for many of you, some of you go, well, I like to remember all the details of the science. That's great. Your brain works that way. For the rest of us, right, we don't need to know how it works. We just need to know that it works. Then we need to know how we can apply it in a practical, actionable sense on a daily basis so that we can leverage the power that the science and the scientists have proven will make this thing work. But I don't need to remember all the science and the E equals MC squared. I just need to know that if I think this thing or I say this thing or I do this thing, then I will be able to live this principle or this strategy, right? So that's where I come from, a very practical place. And that's why whenever I teach unwavering faith and how to maintain it, I always say, look, it's not rocket science. Yes, it's neuroscience, as we're going to cover today, right? But it's not rocket science. Maintaining unwavering faith is simply telling yourself, I am committed to give it everything I have to achieve my mission or my goal, regardless of my results along the way. No matter what, there's no other option. That's not fancy, right? That's not complicated. All that is I'm directing my brain to focus on what I need to focus on to keep me moving forward and taking the necessary actions that will make my success in attaining any goal I'm working towards inevitable. I don't need science. I just need that practical sentence, right? Forget the science. I need the sentence that will keep unwavering faith at the forefront of my conscious mind and will reprogram my subconscious mind. And by the way, what makes faith unwavering is that you do make a conscious commitment to maintain your faith over an extended period of time. In other words, for as long as it takes for your mission to become a reality or to achieve your goal. Remember my Miracle Morning mission, change 1 million lives one morning at a time? My goal was to do it in 1 year. I was 99.9% short of that goal after year one. Remember that. My goal was 1 million. We sold 10,000 copies. I was 99.9% short of that goal. I think that's the right percentage, or very close to it. It took me 6 years. It took me 6 years, right? But for me, maintaining that unwavering faith over an extended period of time. If your faith wavers, right, then you're done. Remember the original the origin of the miracle equation was I was trying to achieve this goal, and I achieved it in the last hour, the last appointment of this 10-day period, right? It was the last hour, and I was this close to giving up. Because remember, the wrong woman answered the door when I went to my appointment, and she said, "Can I help you?" And I didn't think she was going to buy anything because she was on vacation from Europe. I thought, this woman's not going to buy knives and fly them home. What a waste of time for me to sit with her for an hour and a half and do my sales presentation. So she said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "No, thank you. Thank you, but no, thank you." And right as she was about to shut the door, I said, "Oh, ma'am, wait," because I remembered. I committed to give it everything I have, regardless of my results, until the last possible moment, no matter what. There was no other option. And I almost gave up before the last moment. And that's what most people do. Most people don't even get that close. They give up way before, right? Way before they're that close to their goal, because it never goes as planned. It was only because I was willing to commit, and it was the power of unwavering faith in the form of a simple sentence, right? That miracle mantra that reinforced, I'm committed to give it everything I have, regardless of my results, until the last possible moment, no matter what. There's no other option. That's real simple. It's not complicated. It's on the surface, it doesn't seem that scientific, but it was that repeating that mantra hundreds and hundreds of times that implanted it not only in my conscious mind, but it started to seep into the subconscious. And that's why in that moment it surfaced. And I went, oh yeah, I live with unwavering faith. I've committed to give it everything I have until the end. And this woman has given me an opportunity to live my truth, to live my mantra, to live with unwavering faith. Not just think about it or talk about it or, no. To live it to the fullest. And only because I did that, the mystery of miracles, right, came to pass, and that woman purchased, what I needed, and I reached the goal. All right, so let's dive into the neuroscience here, right? So let's dive into the neuroscience. From a practical sense, all unwavering faith is establishing faith through what you tell yourself through a written statement and maintaining that for as long as it takes you to achieve your goal. Remember, the only variable is timing. I tried to do my Miracle Morning million goal in a year, and it took me 6. If I would have given up after year 1, it never would have happened, and we would not have been here. And Ryan, I saw your comment. Yes, Adam nudged me to reopen the door. Yes, that is getting the details of the story, but I didn't want to go into too much detail that I would add to tell part of it. Wasn't relevant. So yes, all right, back in. From the neuroscience perspective, we've seen 3 research-proven findings that give credibility to the effectiveness of unwavering faith, okay? And these 3 are, number 1, and I talked about this in the Miracle Morning, by the way, a lot in the original book. Your brain doesn't know the difference between what is really happening and what is vividly imagined over time. Okay, so this is the first element that neuroscience provides us with that reinforces unwavering faith, that your brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. And the example I used to always give to teach this, I haven't given it in a long time, but is if a child is told by their parents that they are ugly for their entire life, if they've got a verbally abusive parent, the parent says, "You're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're so stupid, you're so stupid." And by the way, it doesn't have to be a child. You could be an adult, right? If you marry someone and they tell you you're ugly or stupid, at first you might think, "No, I'm not. You're a jerk. You're mean." Right? But if we hear it over and over and over and over and over and over, well, not only is our conscious mind hearing and processing that, our subconscious mind is seeping into the subconscious. And eventually that child, for example, would believe that they were unattractive, even though they might be the most beautiful or handsome child on the planet. Whatever we tell ourselves or are told by others repeatedly, consistently, over an extended period of time becomes our reality. The second element that neuroscience reinforces unwavering faith through is that your brain builds neural pathways based on what you repeat over time, or rather, what you believe and have faith in. So neural pathways, so literally, when you tell yourself something over and over and over again, it's not just a thought. You're literally building new neural pathways, new connections in your brain that represent whatever this thing is that you're telling yourself, this belief, this faith. It starts to become your reality. And sooner rather than later, you don't know the difference between what you were once telling yourself that maybe you didn't believe. Maybe you were saying, I'm going to reach this goal, but every time you said it, your subconscious, because there was no neural pathway, it said, no, you're not. You've never done this before. Who do you think you are? Why would you think you could even achieve such an extraordinary goal? That may be how you feel right now. And maybe you're feeling less and less. And maybe you felt that way, maybe not now. Maybe it's how you felt when you started the miracle equation. But you're probably feeling less and less and less conflicted with the faith that you are actively establishing. Because every time you recite your miracle mantra, every time you reinforce your unwavering faith, it becomes more and more and more normal for you, part of who you are as a person. Because again, your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and the reality that you create for yourself through consistent repetition. And the third element that neuroscience provides in terms of evidence for the power of unwavering faith is that your brain has a system. You may have heard of this before. It is called the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. And the RAS acts as kind of a gatekeeper, a metaphorical gatekeeper, only letting what you believe into your conscious mind. So through establishing the faith that you can be, do, and have anything and everything that you're committed to, you're harnessing the power of your brain. You are reprogramming your subconscious mind, creating new connections and new neural pathways, and you're leveraging the reticular activating system to literally program your mind as you are deciding you want to program it. And this is true for anyone. It's universal. The brain works the same way for all of us, minus a traumatic brain injury, or which I've had, right? But I'm a living example. You know, Chip Franks, who's not here today, by the way. And by the way, as a side note, if you haven't read the post that Chip Franks put up in the Miracle Morning community Facebook group, please make a note to yourself right now to read Chip Franks' post. And by the way, it's easy to find because it is posted as the top announcement right now in the Facebook group. But it's all about, we met yesterday. My team had an 8-hour strategic planning session on the future of the Miracle Morning movement. And Chip wrote the most beautiful, I didn't even know he was going to write it. I just got a notification and read it, and I was in tears. The most beautiful, eloquent description. And now it was a little bit of a tease because he didn't give away everything, but of what is to come for the future of our movement, our mission, and our community. So as a side note, highly encourage you to go read that. All right, so the 3 discoveries that we just described are how neuroscience proves how effective and necessary, crucial, unwavering faith is to your success, however you define success. If you define it as happiness, as fulfillment, as something measurable, like, a financial level, however you define success, these are the 3 discoveries that neuroscience has made that reinforce how crucial unwavering faith is to whatever you are working towards in your life. Now, to understand these 3 components, these 3 discoveries, you first have to understand how our mind works. And again, I'm going to explain this in relatively simple terms, but your thinking brain is made up of 2 main parts. I'm sure you're familiar. There's the subconscious mind over here, right? We have the subconscious mind and we have the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is, or some people call it the automatic processing mind, Well, 80 to 90% of your daily actions and decisions are governed by your subconscious mind. Think about that for a second. 80 to 90% of your actions and your decisions are governed by your subconscious mind. In other words, they're essentially already decided for you. And let me give you a practical sense of what that looks like. When the alarm goes off in the morning, I'd be willing to bet that you do relatively the same rituals every single day. For some of you, you hit the snooze button, right? And it is programmed in your subconscious mind to when the alarm goes off, your subconscious says, oh yeah, this is when we reach across the nightstand and we hit our phone or our alarm clock and we hit the snooze button and we lay here for 10 more minutes. And if you're used to hitting the snooze button once and then getting up, well, your subconscious mind has that program and it runs it for you on autopilot. If you're used to hitting the snooze button 3 times, well, you already have that program. It's programmed, and you probably, on average, each and every day, you do the same things. If you then typically get out of bed and you walk into the bathroom and brush your teeth, you don't have to think about that. It is all stored in your subconscious. If instead you don't brush your teeth, which, no judgment, that's your choice. If you normally walk to the kitchen and turn on the coffee maker first, then go into the bathroom and brush your teeth, right? That's an automatic program that you don't even have to think about. So these are a few really simple examples, but see, understand, that is our subconscious mind controls our thinking and our behavior. If when you hit traffic, you normally hit your steering wheel and you say a curse word, son of a, right? Well then, if that's what you've always done, you have a program in your subconscious that says, hey, when you hit traffic, you're going to hit the steering wheel and you're going to then mouth a curse word or say a curse word, right? That is a program. You don't think about this. You don't consciously go, oh, the alarm's going off. What should I do right now? Should I hit the snooze button or should I get out of bed? Maybe, I guess I'll hit the snooze button. What would the consequences of that be? No, we don't do that. That would be what would happen if our conscious mind is what governed 80 to 90% of our decisions. You follow, right? That's what would happen. If when we hit traffic, if instead of just hitting the steering wheel and saying son of a gun, if instead of doing that, if our conscious mind was in charge, you'd go, oh, I hit traffic. How do I feel about being in traffic? What's the best response right now? Should I hit my steering wheel and then cuss? Should I flip the person next to me off? Should I ride the bumper of the brake? No, we don't go through that conscious thought process. Our subconscious mind says, no, this is what you do. Now think about this. By the way, so think about the fact that if our subconscious mind is running 80 to 90% of our decisions and our actions, our behaviors, then in order to change your life, you must first change yourself, right? We covered that on week 1. Be, do, have. You have to become the person that you need to be so that you can do the things you need to do so that you can have the life that you ultimately want to have. So in order to follow the be, do, have model, we have to reprogram ourselves at the subconscious level. That is where all transformation begins. That is why you've heard me say, if I had to pick any of the savers that make up the Miracle Morning as my favorite, if someone says, what is your favorite? The favorite for me is affirmations, because that is my written program for my subconscious mind. My affirmations are written statements that articulate what I've decided, consciously decided, that I need to think, that I need to believe, that I need to consider, that I need to remember, that I need to do. I design my new program for my subconscious mind in writing in my affirmations, and then I recite them every single day. And I would say slowly but surely, but it's not that slow. I mean, 30 days of reading an affirmation, and I'm a different person. I'm a different person. I think differently, right? And by the way, if you don't keep up with your affirmations, and I've experienced this firsthand, you can easily fall back. Like your subconscious programming, if you reprogram it, it's not necessarily a permanent reprogramming. This is an important lesson, right? An important distinction to make. Think of it this way. Imagine this is like a microchip. So imagine you've got all these this will give you a visual. Imagine you've got all these microchips throughout your brain, and each one represents a different program. So one is a program on how you respond to traffic. One is a program based on your childhood experiences in one area, right? So there's countless, I don't know how many billions of neural pathways we have in our brain, right? But we have millions or billions. I don't know the number because I don't care. The number doesn't matter. How do we apply it? That's what matters to me. So we have countless, let's just say countless neural pathways in our brain. Imagine each neural pathway is a small little microchip that houses the information of an entire computer, right? It's my computer over there. Or there's one in front of me. So think of it this way. When you create your miracle mantra, an affirmation, when you reinforce a new program, well, you're installing a new chip, but and you're pushing the other chip over, but the other chip isn't gone. And if you think of it this way, where if you were to stop living with unwavering faith, if I stop reciting one of my affirmations too soon, now you can permanently reprogram yourself, but realize that once you've reprogrammed your subconscious mind in a certain area with a certain belief or a certain thought pattern, once you've done that, you have to keep doing that, or the old program, it's not gone. It didn't get uninstalled from your brain right away. It's still there. And you may have experienced this before. You can quickly fall into your old patterns, right? We do it physically, like with the Miracle Morning. I've seen many people, and I've been guilty of myself of this, where you do the Miracle Morning every day for a month or 6 months or 2 years or whatever, and then you go on vacation, right? Think about if you've been guilty of this. You go on vacation or your routine changes for some reason, and then when you come back, you fall off your Miracle Morning, and then you go back to your old pattern, your old programming. Now you hit the snooze button again. Now you're not waking up early. Now you're not doing your Miracle Morning. So keep in mind that reprogramming your subconscious mind, don't get ahead of yourself and think that just because you start to see changes, don't think that, oh, I did it. No, you've started to do it, right? You've started to do it. Think of it this way. Unwavering faith, in the first 30 days, you're establishing it. Maintaining it means sticking with your miracle mantra or your affirmations indefinitely until your mission becomes a reality. Now, you might get to a point, and for everyone, it could be different. You might get to a point after a month, or maybe for you, it's 3 or 6, but you might get to a point where you don't necessarily need the affirmation or the mantra, or at least need it as often, because you've permanently reprogrammed your subconscious mind to think and live in alignment with your unwavering faith. Now, what is vital to know is that your conscious thinking mind, your conscious mind, is ultimately in control of your subconscious mind, but only if you make a conscious decision to take that control. So it is telling the subconscious mind what to program and to automate. And it does that by listening to what you claim as truth every single day. So in other words, you speak the scenarios that you want to experience, right? You speak what you want to experience in reality, but you imagine it. Visualization, by the way, which we talked a lot about in the last training last week, that's another way that you reinforce new neural pathways, and often at an even deeper level, because you're actually combining words with a visual of what it is that you're affirming, and you're generating the emotions. We talked a lot about that last week, that visualization, to me, the biggest benefit is generating the emotions that support who you need to be to achieve and believe and achieve what it is that you want. So doing that automates what you believe and it reinforces your faith. And so that's great news only if you're feeding your brain unwavering faith in who you are committed to being and what you are committed to doing. And this is the good news. If you are actively feeding yourself that unwavering faith, feeding your brain that unwavering faith, you are 100% in control. If you're not feeding yourself that faith and you're letting your past dictate your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, if you're letting other people dictate your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you're not in control. But when you utilize mantras and visualization and you construct those tools, those are tools for transformation. When you construct those around unwavering faith through that lens, now you take control of your life. All right, couple obstacles to maintaining unwavering faith. Number one is rear view mirror syndrome. You may remember that from the Miracle Morning. If you haven't read the Miracle Morning, I guess read it. I don't know if I have an article on it. But rear view mirror syndrome is the subconscious rear view mirror that we have in our subconscious mind, where whenever we're presented with an opportunity or a challenge, which, newsflash, that's every day when we wake up. It's the opportunity to create anything we want for our life, and it's the challenge to accept mediocrity for ourselves. So this is true for you every single day, in that every time we're faced with an opportunity or a challenge, our subconscious mind, it doesn't take any conscious effort. We don't have to stop and think about it. Subconsciously, we check the rearview mirror and we think, how have I responded to these opportunities like this in the past? And if it's a new opportunity, if it's a new goal, if it's a new mission, there's nothing. There's no evidence there, right? The only evidence is I haven't. I've never responded to this type of an opportunity because I've been scared or because I've been doubtful or whatever. Or how I responded to this challenge. And in the past, you might go, gosh, I usually give up. I usually don't even try. I usually cower. I usually crawl into the fetal position, right? Or maybe you have evidence that you go, no, I've taken on opportunities like this, or I've overcome challenges like this, right? So you might be on either side of the fence or somewhere in the middle, depending on the opportunity, depending on the challenge. So rear view mirror syndrome shows up in a few different ways. Number one is not believing that you are worthy. Because if you're trying to do something you've never done before, then there's no evidence of your worthiness to do that thing, to be that thing, to attain that thing. However, the good news is there is a universal worthiness available to you called enlightened entitlement, right? From the Miracle Equation book, enlightened entitlement is the embracing on your part of the truth that you are just as worthy, deserving, and capable as any other person on this planet of achieving anything and everything that you want and that you're committed to doing what's necessary to achieve. The second way that rearview mirror syndrome shows up is not believing you're capable, right? Because if you check the rearview mirror, you might go, well, I am worthy. I believe that I'm deserving and I deserve to be just as happy and successful as anybody else. But you might check the rearview and go, but I'm not capable of this. I've never done this. And in fact, you might even have evidence that shows the opposite. You might go, I'm lazy. I'm inconsistent. So your rearview mirror might show you all sorts of evidence that you're not capable. So you have to establish that you are capable of anything that you are committed to, not based on your past, but based on your potential. I'll say that again. You have to establish the faith that you are capable of anything and everything that you are committed to, not based on your past, but based on your potential. And another way rearview mirror shows up is not believing you're going to achieve your goal, right? Not believing you're going to achieve your goal, which is really fear. That's just a form of fear. And that is the second way, the second obstacle to maintaining faith is fear. It's the fear that we might fail. It's the fear that we might look stupid for other people. It's the fear that we might be doing it wrong. It's, in fact, I just recently, this week's podcast, if you want to go deep on fear, what is today? Oh, it came out today, right? Yeah, today's Wednesday. I'm pretty sure it came out today. My new podcast is about fear and overcoming fear. It's with Ruth Soukup, and she is the author of the book Do It Scared. So anyway, go check that out. We dive deep into 7 different archetypes of fear. You learn what your fear archetype is. So anyway, that's an in-depth dive into fear. We're not going to go deep into fear. All you need to know is this. You're going to have fear. If you're a human being, you have fear. It's normal. It's built into our primitive prehistoric brain. So don't try to avoid fear. Embrace fear and realize courage is not the absence of fear. You've probably heard this before. Courage is doing the things that you're afraid of, taking action in the face of fear. And when you do that, doesn't mean your fear disappears completely, but it does minimize. When you go, gosh, I'm afraid, I'm going to do it anyway, and then you do it, and then if it's, it's almost never as bad as we're afraid it's going to be. You usually don't die. If you do die, it's a different story. But you do the thing you're afraid of, and then you go, wow, I did it, and I'm still here. I'm still standing. What else could I do? And all of a sudden, that's how you become fearless. When they say you're fearless, it doesn't mean that you don't have fear. It means that you don't let fear stop you, that you keep moving forward toward your goals, your dreams, despite your fear. All right, we are going to wrap up today with some action for you guys and gals. I'm going to give you guys 4 steps, if you will, 4 steps to implement today's training. And really, these are really just 4 steps to maintain unwavering faith no matter what. Number 1, and by the way, if you have any questions, remember I don't have time to stay on today for Q&A, but remember, put them in the chat box. You can also put them in the Facebook group. You can tag me. I've been trying to get in there more to answer your questions real time, so feel free to do that. The number 1 action for all of you, and you may have already taken this one, so this is great. You can check this off the list, but I had to include it at least in case you haven't done this, and that is create your miracle mantra and your affirmations, right? Create your mantra. Your mantra it's in the book. Here it is. It's very simple. I am committed to achieving, so you don't have to use my exact wording. You have to use words that resonate with you. I am committed to achieving blank or accomplishing blank or overcoming blank. And I'll give a few examples. Blank is whatever your mission is. I am committed to, writing the first chapter of my book this month. I am committed to running 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. I am committed to spending an hour with my kids. I'm committed to a weekly date night with my husband or my wife. So whatever your mission is for this month, I am committed to my mission, but be specific what your mission is. I am committed to blank, regardless of my results, no matter what, there is no other option. And whenever you encounter a setback or a challenge or a failure, if you will, or even just fear or self-doubt, you go, things aren't going as well as I planned. People aren't responding like I was hoping. Things aren't happening as fast as I had hoped. You stop and you pull out your miracle mantra and you say, I am committed to giving it everything I have. I think I left that part out, by the way. You should include that. I am committed to giving it everything I have to blank, achieve your mission, whatever that is for you, regardless of my results. And that reminds you, that's such an important part of the mantra, regardless of my results, because what that does is when you're in the middle of less than stellar results, you go, oh yeah, that's right. The results don't always play out the way that I want. Sometimes it takes longer than I had hoped, but I'm committed for as long as it takes, because I know that when I finally get to the point that I've been working for so hard for so long, when you finally reach your mission, the timing's always perfect. You look back and you go, oh yeah, I had to go through all the ups and the downs and the failures and the faults and the challenges. I had to go through all of that. That was all part of my miracle equation journey, my miracle journey. All right, so here we go. So once you've got your affirmation, your mantra, which by the way, you can massage it, you can add to it, you can have mantras and affirmations in each area. By the way, I want to handle this real quick. In case you're wondering, I saw this question somewhere. What's the difference between a mantra and an affirmation? Well, in the context of the miracle equation, I would say don't get hung up on that. Now, if you look up the definition, I really don't even use mantra the right way as it's defined. It's usually defined as a word or a sound or a phrase. So that's where I was able to call this the miracle mantra, which just sounds better than miracle affirmation, right? But the miracle mantra is because this is really a single phrase. It's a single sentence. An affirmation is typically that's really the difference. Is a mantra is a word, a sound, or a phrase that directs your focus in a way that, in alignment with who you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to have. So it keeps you focused on whatever outcome you're trying to accomplish. That's a mantra. It's simply a short version, if you will, of an affirmation. An affirmation could be a sentence or a paragraph or an entire page, right? That's really the difference. So don't get hung up on that. Call it whatever you want. Your miracle mantra, your miracle equation affirmation. It's really semantics at this point. All right, so here we go. These are really the 3 action steps that I want you to write down. Number 1, actively feed your brain the exact belief of what you want to happen. Actively feed your brain the exact belief of what you want to happen, right? This is what you're doing by establishing unwavering faith. Number 2, the second or third step, number 3. Number 1 is create your miracle equation or your miracle mantra and miracle equation affirmations. Number 2 is actively feed your brain the exact belief of what you want to happen. Number 3, actively feed your brain the exact steps that would make that happen. Actively feed your brain the exact steps that would make that happen. Because remember, unwavering faith isn't just about the belief that it's possible. You've got to establish the unwavering faith in yourself that you're committed to take the steps that will make your goals and dreams not just possible, but inevitable, right? So unwavering faith isn't just about, I know it's possible. Possible exists in a void of nothingness. We've got to move from possible to probable to, as you know, inevitable. So the unwavering faith needs to be applied not just to the belief that it's possible or inevitable, but to the actions that you're committed to taking. You've got to tie your unwavering faith to your process, right? And that really, the actions, this really in the context and the language we use in the miracle equation, that is your process. Those actions are what defines your process. And then number 4, repeat it over and over again with your mantra. And here's a little bonus tip: use visualization to reinforce the emotions that will keep moving you forward. So repeat your mantra / affirmations, repeat your mantra and affirmations over and over and over and over again. I know this isn't new, but it's important, so I can't leave it out. You're probably hopefully already doing that. But one thing that you might consider from last week's training is recite your affirmations and then close your eyes or keep them open, look at a vision board, do your visualization however you want, but bring visualization into your toolkit as part of your miracle equation practice to reinforce the emotions that will keep you moving forward. And when you do this consistently, when you recite your affirmations, when you do it where you're feeding your brain not only the belief but also the process, you're tying your unwavering faith to your commitment to your process so that it's both are being reinforced in your subconscious mind. You're reinforcing the belief that it's possible. You're also reinforcing the commitment to make it possible. And then bring affirmations in, or visualization in, so that you can you're going to turbocharge how quickly and how deeply and the lasting effect of the programming you're doing for your subconscious mind. Guys and gals, we are right at 1 hour. We're going to wrap up today's training. If you have any questions, please put them in the evaluation form. I'm reading those every week and I'm compiling a list. And on the last week, not next week. Next week we're going to talk about, next week's week 5. Next week we're going to talk about how do you make all of this a lifelong practice, not just something where you look back and you go, oh yeah, I remember when I did that miracle equation 30-day challenge. It was amazing. The training was great, but man, I let all of it go. I didn't keep it going. I didn't apply it to future goals. I left it in the past. I don't want that to happen for you. Remember, the ultimate goal of the miracle equation is about you becoming a miracle maven. What is a miracle maven, you ask? Someone who understands how the miracle equation works. The Olympians are miracle mavens. Highly successful individuals in any walk of life are miracle mavens. They live by the two fundamental decisions that make up the miracle equation. And that is my hope for you, my goal for you, my commitment to you, is helping you to become a miracle maven, so that if I run into you 5 years from now, you go, Hal, oh my gosh, when I read the miracle equation and I did the training, I started consciously reprogramming my subconscious mind to view every part of my world, my life, my opportunities, my challenges through the lens of unwavering faith. And I got clear on my process, my extraordinary effort. I committed to that. And I developed myself into the most disciplined person, most consistent person I had ever been in my entire life. And now I have the most extraordinary life I can imagine. I'm living the life of my dreams. I'm still a miracle maven, but I don't have to think about it anymore. I don't even think about it. It's just who I am. And now I have a miracle life. That is what I want for you. If I meet you in a year or 5 years, that is my hope, is that this fundamentally changes who you are, not because who you are right now isn't good. I love who you are, but I just see who you can be. I love who I am, but I always see who I can be. And the beauty of human potential is, ladies and gentlemen, friends, miracle mavens, it's unlimited. So for the rest of your life, love who you are, but always be clear on who you can become and apply the miracle equation to live into that vision of who you can become, so that is who you do become. I love you. I appreciate you. This replay will be up in the membership portal in the next 24 hours. If you have any questions, post them on the evaluation form, which I will include a link to when I email you the replay for today. There will be a link to the evaluation form. Put the questions in there. And please continue to love each other and support each other and ask questions and ask for help. And just support each other on this journey in the Miracle Equation Miracle Mavens Facebook group. Love you guys and gals. I will talk to y'all next week. Take care, everybody.